It's been a while. I know I shouldn't have kept you waiting, but I'm here now. Today on Me, Myself, and the Woman in Me, a Me, Myself, and miniseries book club. I'm joined by an extra special guest, Twirl Town Captain, the beautiful Drop Dead, my best friend Kevney Spears. We continue our journey reading through Britney Spears' memoir, The Woman in Me, with this week being part 1 of the 2-part saga through chapters 20 through 30. Yes, it is time for the era we've all waited for. The scene is set at the beginning of the end of Britney and Kevin's marriage as we see Kevin prioritize his alleged newfound fame over his wife and 2 very young children. Britney is slowly losing herself following the birth of her second child, feeling more and more alone and abandoned by her family and her husband. She has nowhere to go but the company she finds in new friends, the paparazzi, the clubs, and the studio. This all leads to the conception of what we now know as the pop Bible, Blackout. This is a very tough set of chapters and stories, but it is this era specifically that proves the power Britney has had all along. Remember, this book club is ours, so make sure your voice is heard wherever you watch or listen to this podcast. And now, book club's in session, bitch. Welcome back, everybody, to Me, Myself, and the Woman in Me, the Me, Myself, and mini-series documenting, reflecting, highlighting Britney Spears' highly anticipated and, quite frankly, highly excellent memoir. I am very happy today. It's a very special day. Not only did we just come off of our Christmas, essentially, our Thanksgiving, Britney's birthday, December 2nd, 1981, in Kentwood, Louisiana. It's a very special day. We're coming off of Britsgiving and feeling like softly hungover. Not terribly. Softly.
Dehydrated.
Definitely dehydrated.
A little bit.
Definitely dehydrated. I could feel the chapped lip lines forming on my lips as I speak. But with it being a special day due to Britney's birthday, it is also a very special day because for the kind of climax of the book, one of the many climaxes, but like the climax of the book, chapters 20 through 30, we are covering 10 fucking chapters today. I am joined by a legend, a Britney stan, my best friend, Kevney Spears.
Hello. I'm excited to be here. Excited but nervous.
Yeah?
Just a little.
What makes you nervous? Is this your Diane Sawyer 2003 moment?
No, I won't cry. I'll probably act more like Whitney, but I know you're not going to be asking me questions like that.
No.
I don't know. I just get overly excited with Britney, and I just have word vomit, and then I just get very passionate, and then I get lost. So, yeah.
But you know what's crazy is that to us, when we talk, like that's nothing new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the reason why we bonded and became friends is because of our, to other people, overly excited passion about this lady.
Yeah. I mean, only intellectuals would get that. So.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
And people that don't, that sucks
Just
for
don't.
them. That really sucks them. Some people have Harvard. I have Britney Spears.
Exactly.
That's the only study I pay attention
Britannica.
to. Britannica. Britannica. Britmatics.
Britney
Spears. Britannica.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Britannica. So yes, it's a very special episode because, like, I don't know, it's just cool to think about, like, the power that this lady has, and that's kind of, like, the moral of this show is to not just be, like, let's celebrate this lady and the amazing career she's had, but it's, like, how somebody and what they bring to the world and their art, how that could do just more than giving you something to listen to when you get up in the morning or when you go to the gym. Like, you know, like, people find communities because of her, you know, like, people want to joke and talk about, like, Stan Twitter and, like, you know, kind of forums and communities online of people that come together to talk about pop stars that don't know them. But it's, like, in a way, this gives people, like, homes and communities to belong to. So, like, to think about literally, like, if it wasn't for this lady, like, maybe not, like, we would or wouldn't have met and become friends, which is interesting when you think about it.
I know. It's crazy to think about, but I'm glad it happened.
I'm very glad it happened.
Yeah. I mean, that just shows the power of me.
Literally, if I met her, I think that would be one of the things I told her. I'd be like, I met my best friend because of you. I think that's things she would relate to very well. Whereas like if I came up to her and was like, In the Zone saved my life, she'd be like, Rob,
Right.
and have my ass carried out that room. But so with that being said, I think I told you about it earlier, but now it's quite on the spot moment. So hello. We'll start off the show with your piece of me that you want to bring to the show.
So I don't physically have it, and I don't even know if my
Which is
parents have it,
completely fine.
which is like that's my burning of Alexandra. Is that what it's called? That library.
Britannica.
Britannica, literally. And I had, when I was really young, before going, the age of going to school or preschool, I had the VHS tape of Britney's like special in Hawaii with the
Live and
SNL,
More.
with the SNL skits and
No
the music
way.
videos. So I was like, the earliest memories I have are from like watching the music videos, laying in the bed, doing her little like an oops. And then just like, not understanding anything of those SNL skits. And I was like, why does she have black hair in this one?
That's right.
This skit. But just like, I remember just being mesmerized by her going up and down those stairs. Like when she's ending the show where she's like turning around and like the
Yes.
crowd is just exploding. Like, mind you, this is in an open air, like in the beach, and that crowd sounds so loud. And it's just like her smiling with her little like diamond star on her arm. I was so jealous. I wanted one of those so badly. So that was in my daily rotation when I was really young. So I think that was like that is my piece of me. That's kind of like the origin of Kevney Spears.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, I wish I had it, but I don't think we have it anymore. My parents still hoard like VHS tapes, but I unfortunately don't think that's one that made it.
Got you.
Yeah.
I have my copy back home in Maryland. So next time I go back, I will bring it back so we could have a proper Live and More screening.
I will have a temperature controlled, UV controlled glass case for that.
Very much so.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. It's funny because when I went to Hawaii, I think it was like 2 years ago for like that random like work thing, behind the hotel was the beach, and it was that beach that she performed at.
That's crazy.
I lost my mind. I was there like, so if I eat the sand, will anything happen to me?
Yeah.
Because this is historical grounds here.
They
But
should have plaques literally anywhere that she's touched, I will say.
that's what I'm saying.
Like anything, like we were just watching the In the Zone special. Like we don't know where that, I mean, I'm sure someone knows where that was filmed, but it did not look like a soundstage. It looked like somewhere.
We were both like on the
real.
same page of like, it looks like a library or it looks like a government owned building. It kind of
Yeah.
looked like Grand Central a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything looked like what she said. It wasn't a set. Like it looks like concrete walls or stone or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
One day we'll have the funding of, let's take away funding from the police and start putting funding back into education, which includes putting plaques in all the spaces that Britney was
Historical
at.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if the taxis around that she rode in the other ABC special, or the ABC special, there was the In the Zone and Out All Night, and then the ABC special, the one where she's in the back with the little green top and she's just like, I feel so free. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder, like, is that taxi still around? And if so, they should have her name engraved into the couch the way there's heel shreds engraved into the couches at the Rosemont.
If I ever got that cab, I'd be like, "This my seat."
Right, exactly. And I'd be like, suddenly I own this car.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This my seat?
This my seat.
Hello, Christina. How are you? So funny. What does Britney mean to you off the top of your head?
Power, and it's not even like trying. It's just naturally having it. You're a spectacle. She's a spectacle. Just natural spectacle that I don't think anyone can ever recreate, especially now these days, because everything's so shallow and superficial. But like, she didn't ask for all of this. She just did what she loved, and just by that power of love, she created, I don't know, such a spectacle of herself that she didn't even try. But yeah, that's the first thing that comes into my mind.
It's a good answer. It's That's a very good answer. And especially, like, in her career, she showed power, and in her personal life, she showed power. And these 10 chapters is really where the world kind of doubted her power the most. But now that we've all come to realize, or most have come to realize later, we were always with it.
Mm-hmm.
This is when she showed her power the most. And this is when she proved, I'm not just some pop bitch. I am a human. I'm a strong woman. And yeah, this is an intense set of chapters. So shall we begin?
Of course.
Beautiful.
Let's do it.
So last episode, we recapped chapters 15 through 20 with the lovely and legendary DeQueen, which follows us in the Zone era and post in the Zone era, going into My Prerogative Knee and kind of the era where Britney meets Kevin. She settles down with him, and she's in pursuit of anything that's not the fucking entertainment industry, anything that's not working, anything that doesn't have to do with her doing things for people's pleasure anymore. And she only wants to chase her pleasure and her kids' pleasure and her husband's. So that's where we leave off. Around chapter 20 is where Britney's relationship with Kevin starts to dissipate moment by moment. It ends with the kind of like Vegas showdown of her going to Vegas to go see him as he's recording a music video, and she's turned down at the door, which is crazy.
I don't know how they did not label him as a bum right then and there. Like, girl.
That's what I'm saying. You want to know a theory I have about that moment? I feel like that moment is kind of what sparked Why Should I Be Sad on Blackout. I sent you to Vegas with a pocket full of paper and with no ultimatums on you.
I just can't imagine trying to be like the groupies of that moment for him. And be like,
right.
Like, you look even worse being a groupie for a bum. Like, please.
Right.
Okay.
Not even a backup dancer, a security guard? Or whatever Brenda says in Scary Movie. Kevin Federline? It's crazy. And he's pretty much like, as he's building his music career, like he's becoming like a parody of himself, and he's profiting off of it, and he's like in on the joke too, which is kind of weird, but like whatever.
Yeah.
He's a flop. But the one of two things that he did help bring into the world is Britney's second child, Jaden James, which is where we begin chapter 21 on. So Jaden James is born. Britney's kind of living her domestic fantasy, if you will. Still, things are kind of sparking up when it comes to media attention. Everything with Sean Preston was hard. That's where we had the driving with him on her lap moment. That's where we had her almost dropping him, not due to her, but due to the fucking hounds of paparazzi following her, in which she did catch her son and not even spill any of her water. And you could check the video for that evidence. So that's an athlete right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we begin with chapter 21. She's pretty much just talking about how she feels light. She said it almost feels like she felt like a bird or a feather. Her body felt incredible. Like, this is kind of the happiest we see her, or maybe like one of the last times we see her happy and feeling afloat within these next few set of chapters. So, what do you think about chapter 21?
It was, all the chapters, especially this kind of these next 10, kind of feels like a rush. It's like a rush of adrenaline and stuff. It comes and goes. But I did highlight that her talking about feeling great about her body was something to, look at. Like, she did say, like, it's basically 2 years in a row of being pregnant.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine doing that.
She was also like...
Don't know how her spine took that.
Girl.
Mm-mm.
Like 24 too? I think she was like 24 around the time.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. But, I'm glad that she kind of bounced back. Not saying that bounced back like to a perfect body, but bounced back to like she was feeling herself again. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is just kind of the start. She kind of just starts talking about the paparazzi and how she starts feeling different mindset-wise. So I think we can kind of get a peek of what's switching into this next era.
Yeah, no, completely. That's the kind of like interesting like juxtaposition that this chapter kind of shows, and what it kind of like does to kind of set the moral of these next few chapters is that the things that made her feel good, her family, her husband when he's there, everything that was shifting, all of that was the media attention, was the kind of increasing abandonment of her family around her. And we're literally, like, the highlights of the beginning of this chapter, we're noting she's feeling good in her body, she's feeling good in her body. But then on page 129, when she discusses, like, the kind of, like, overly attentiveness she has when it comes to details about, you know, building this dream house of hers, she kind of looks back on her behavior and she says, quote, "I think I knew then that I'd become weird," because she's demanding marble floors and this and this and that. She even apologizes to some of the landscapers at her place, and she's like, "I'm so sorry if I was a pain in the ass," which, like, one, queen for taking accountability. And to me, what I saw this is her trying, like, to literally reach at anything just out of wanting control in her life, because she's realizing it's going more and more away, and this is pre-conservatorship. You know, like, her autonomy when it comes to things, like, she can't control the way she's seen publicly, she can't control when she's seen publicly. The one thing she can control in her life is how her kids are raised and the home they're raised in. So of course she's gonna go ham when it comes to that stuff. So I found that part kind of
because she notes that, like, it's like she's building her perfect nest, which is true. I mean, she realizes the reality of they can't go anywhere without basically being a military operation of having to hide them. Because, like, like, these are babies, and these grown-ass men, mind you that, grown-ass men yelling, not letting this woman breathe, like, with 2 tiny children and a bum-ass husband who isn't doing anything. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd also would want to be a homebody and make everything perfect. Like,
right. Considering she's, like, at this point, she's almost spent 10 years working. Like, of course she wants that. And that's what I kind of find, like, endearing about this little, like, domestic spirit that she's always had in her heart. It's like, as big of a pop star she is and as big of a celebrity she is, like, one, she's always wanted that domestic life. Like, those are the things that always mattered to her. In the chapter 15 through 20, and one of them, she notes that fame isn't real, and clearly this stuff to her is what's real to her. And so like, I understand where she's at, like, when it comes to chasing all of this.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know. So there was, I'm trying to think, there was one part that I wanted to highlight, which is just, like, it's funny, like, it just shows that, I don't want to say, like, she was ahead of her time when it comes to discussions about mental health, but, like, it's unfortunate how behind society was when it came to discussions of mental health. So as she's talking about just having Jaden and starting to feel weird, what she now knows as, she's like, oh, this is all signs of postpartum, which is just crazy. It's like, God forbid, like, this happened now to Britney in 2023 or to any pop star now in 2023. Imagine how different things would be.
Yeah. I mean, having to experience that with, like you said, the changing relationships of her husband and her family is very interesting. Especially, I would love to know why Lynn was very, like, absent at this time. I don't know if, I mean, that's kind of what I got in these chapters, that she wasn't really. How old was Jamie Lynn at this time?
Jamie Lynn, around 14 through 16.
Was this like her Zoe 101 era?
Yeah, for sure. Like, the show just started at that time.
Okay. Okay, let me give it a little bit of leniency there. Having to take care of, like, you know, someone on set and this and that. But I would, you know, you would think as a mother, maybe she has also experienced that. She probably didn't know what that was either.
Right, right.
Like, why wouldn't you be there for Britney? But I know that Britney also mentioned that she was very mama bear, where she didn't want Lynn to hold her baby for too long.
Yeah.
But I feel like that should be a recognizable trait of, like, after giving birth, Lynn should have been like, okay, this is normal.
Right.
Like, let's work this out.
Yeah, you could give her space, not abandon her.
Yeah. They kind of just, like, hands off type of thing. They're like, all right, handle it. Like, you chose to have these kids with this guy.
Literally, and that's the thing, like, that I've noticed with the family, and she even notes it before, her dad's demeanor is always like he's just like a fucking dictator. You know, later on in these chapters we'll see, like, the moment she lands in rehab, he's there and he's just like, you're a disgrace and everything. So it seems like with this, just in the same way that they were against her marriage in Vegas, which like understandably so, but also like, okay, calm down, she didn't kill anyone.
Yeah.
It's like they want to watch her make these mistakes, and like to make mistakes and learn from it is one thing, but they want her to literally just sulk in it and just have the public view it and watch her melt in it. It's like, you're not gonna help her. This is your daughter. This is a human being.
I noted this like in a different chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's when Britney came back after partying with Lynn at the beach house.
Yep.
And I noted that I feel like the family has this weird savior complex, but not even for the right senses. It was kind of just like, let's watch her spiral out of control, and then we'll be the ones to be like, we told you.
Yeah.
And this is why we have to do this. Like, we just have to like put these restrictions on you because you're just out of control. And it's like, I mean, it seems intentional as we see now,
right?
But it's, you know, experiencing it in real time. I'm sure it's very weird to watch your family kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
completely.
Yeah.
No, 1,000,000%. That's the thing. It's like, and I like the way you kind of started, like the beginning of these chapters. You said it's just like a rush of adrenaline. We're reading this now in an edited book, in a life that we haven't lived. Like, we could only read it and try to be as empathetic as possible to the situation. You know, we as 20-year-olds and just as humans in general, we have days that are, you know, stressful and quick. And when your friend asks you how's your week was, you can't remember anything. Mm-hmm. Imagine how she felt in that case. So when you say like whirlwind, it hits like perfectly.
Because it was like at this time it was one after another. It's like, how can you recap your days when it's still like there's just something coming out every day about you where you're just like, she didn't do anything other than try to survive without a family and a husband not helping her out. Like she stated, she's a single mom with 2 very young kids in the spotlight, and it seemed like everyone was just against her. They just wanted to see the star fall from grace, from the state of grace.
Yeah. Right. And speaking, beautiful transition, and speaking of state of grace, that begins chapter 22, which is where we talk about probably the brightest light in her life at this time that's not her kids, which is the conception of her 5th studio album, Blackout.
Yeah. Blackout, girl. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so
Anyways,
much.
We'll see y'all next week. Imagine.
Blackout is, you know, I kind of want to be like that Lady Gaga interview where she's like, because I feel like Blackout is just, there's so many words that, I mean, I kind of get speechless whenever I listen to that album because I'm just like, this lady is such a fucking genius.
Yep.
Executive producer, her most involved album, and it's just like, I know RCA / Jive Records was very gagged when they heard that that disc, and I know they were like, we cannot like let her release this because this is too cunt. Sorry if I can say it.
Absolutely. It is too cunt.
Because they're like, we don't get the credit for it because we didn't bring all these people for her. She kind of did it herself. So I feel like that's the selfishness of RCA, Jive / Sony.
Yeah.
They didn't want that album to succeed because it wasn't their hands in it.
That's the thing. It's like, you think about, you know, later on, like when it comes to the head shaving and everything, it's like her pursuit to live up to everybody's perfect vision of her. It's physically and even in her work. Like, it's sonically, it's like going to your point, it's like they probably heard Blackout and were like, this isn't toxic. This isn't the self-titled album. What is this? Like, just trying to limit this lady's potential of growing in any way possible, whether it's through her music, her art, personally, physically, like.
Well, to me, it's kind of crazy to see that in every little aspects of like her being more involved in the music, sold millions, with Britney being some involved in that, with In the Zone being a major part of that. I mean, they all sold pretty well, and for them to try to keep her in a cookie cutout, it's like you don't want to take a risk because you're not sure it's gonna make you money. Okay, like then find something else. I don't know, like make your own. She made her own image, I think.
1,000,000%.
For the majority of the part. I'm sure like labels and publicists and all that shit had their say in it. But I mean, it's her. She's the one that initially could say yes or no.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, 1,000,000%. I agree. Like, she made the image the moment she changed the video concept for Baby One More Time. You know what I mean? It was right then and there. It's right then and there when she said it was hot and she tied up her shirt. It's like, oh, this isn't a pop star. This isn't a singer. That's fucking Britney Spears.
Yeah.
I love this woman so much. But yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you and I like talk about this a lot, like when it comes to work and like especially like creative industries and just like any kind of field. It's funny how the things that are risks most times pay off. You know, like in our own personal conversations, we'll be like talking about our jobs or anything, or just like, man, if they only tried this, like how much it would work. But it's this weird like old man mentality of like, nope, let's just keep sticking to what's like been working this whole time. And it's like, what do you mean that's been working this whole time, hun? So that's like the beauty of,
I feel like that's just the limitations of money, where it's like if people see that it comes in, like if it makes so much money and this and that, let's keep it this way. But it's like, you know, keep it that way, but it's not going to be interesting anymore. It's not going to bring in that same money you thought is going to be. Like everything that is new will always just die down of interest. Because I mean, ideas, there's always good ones, but they're not always the best. So you can always just keep evolving on those. But people like to be safe and want to keep making that money. I don't know. I feel like people need to relax, first of all, and just let, like, I don't know, new ideas come to fruition.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. It's like, it's funny because it's in that moment is when we see the lines between art and product. Sometimes those two things could coexist, but art is supposed to be always evolving. Same thing with the product, but like art is always supposed to be evolving. For example, a product, you know what I mean? Like you think of like a perishable like grocery item. It's mass made. The ingredients in it probably haven't changed because it's selling well. It's doing well. Why need to change it? Art isn't the same fucking thing. It's supposed to change. It's supposed to ebb and flow with the way somebody's life goes or the way their fucking mind goes, whether it's based on their life or not. And I think we see that in this, and we see it now in the music industry, where it's just like, oh, this stuff isn't art. Like, this is all just products, listenable product.
Right.
You know?
And I think those people in those labels, or literally anywhere in upper management in any industry, should stick to their own jobs and to only knowing the numbers and not having any say in, like, artist decisions or anything like that. You got that degree. You got that position, you interviewed for that position, stay in that position, and let the artist do their thing. Like, that's the whole point of making music and making art.
Exactly. But yeah, so with that being said, Blackout is such a triumph in this way because it's like a weird, like, double-ended sword. I don't know the saying, but like that kind of thing, because it's like, as there's this abandonment in her life from her family and their team, comes that like window of opportunity for freedom for her in the studio, you know? So it's like, you think about if Blackout would have ever been a thing if her personal life went this way, you know, because her label probably would have tried to be hands-on with everything around this time. But yeah, I just thought it was nice.
This is like honestly one of the truest forms and truest examples of an artist using their emotions, their like truest emotions, to make art. Like, you know, the cliche of artists, of like painters and stuff, like they have to go through something so like emotional that art comes out of it. And this is exactly what Britney did with Blackout. Like, she was going through all this shit, and this is what she was like, this is what came out of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just like all hitting me now. And like she notes that it was a quote unquote battle cry. She loved that no one was there overthinking things and she got to say what she liked and didn't like. It's just excellent. Shall we dive into Blackout as an album?
Well,
quick.
yes, I would love to do that.
Hit it.
So Give Me More. I mean, that is just, I don't know. The fact that it's Britney bitch comes from just joking around in the studio to being her staple now is, I don't know. It's the crispness that you hear at the beginning of an album, and that's the way you start an album.
Yeah.
I mean, the engineering, the producing of this, and not only just this entire album, but the song is insane. Like, there's so many sounds, so many rhythms, so many beats that, you know, Danger and the other producers and her really sat through and said, this is correct, this goes well, like this all sounds good, mm-hmm. and you just have that masterpiece. So yeah,
it's crazy. It's like, I'm an in the zone girl till I die, but it's like Blackout in that way is so beautiful. Like, it's just such a beautifully curated piece of music. And I think nowadays people think like all kind of like personal records have to be like sob stories, which like is fierce if that's your thing, but it's like, it's funny because it's like, in a way, her most personal piece of work is so kind.
Right. It's like Cuntified. It's a Cuntified diary.
No, literally. Wait, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, and you know, it's like the way she puts her own personal life into it, I think is just so intelligent. And it's something that's trying to be recreated now where it's like no one will ever recreate that, you know? Like,
I mean, first of all, everyone's lives are boring. Like, they're all the same. Everyone wants this like weird influencer, pop star, celebrity life that everyone recreates. Everybody wants to be an it girl. Just a simple reminder, you're not an it girl if you have to say it. No one has that it factor anymore because everyone does it.
Right. Literally, Britney wasn't saying I'm an it girl.
Yeah,
by my music.
She was going to the gas station, robbing lighters and getting like Red Bull, stopping traffic in the middle, you know, because the paparazzi were chasing her.
And now
did she call herself an it girl? No.
Literally.
She was being a mom that was bored and wanted to make music.
It's crazy now because those candidates of her at the gas station just naturally being an it girl, naturally being kind, are now like historical relics of pop culture that like Addison Rae recreates, you know, like that you have to purposely put on and recreate, where it's like that was just her being her. And I think that's just like what's so beautiful about Blackout. And it's funny because it's like you think about like Piece of Me, for example, which like Britney didn't write, Robin wrote, but it's still, no one could have done that song.
I think with Piece of Me, it really shows her using her voice as an instrument, and I see a lot of producers, and I've seen deconstruction videos of this album, and it's like even those people who are not Britney stans are like kind of taken aback because they're like, oh shit, like this lady is like, because you know everyone loves to point out she's not the best singer, and I'm like, and if that's all you have, then okay,
Right.
But like she really does use her voice as an instrument in this album, which is crazy. And like and it's really cool to watch. I mean, just to like listen to like all the different like layers to these songs with different variations of her own voice. But yeah.
even like vocally, like the inflection she makes and stuff like that, like you think about the way she goes into falsetto in Break the Ice, like it's those little touches that like not a lot of people have nowadays. And that's the thing, like I've always seen Britney like not just like as a performer, not just as a singer, but like a recording artist, you know. And going back to your point about like the songs broken down and everything, like so many interviews like Danger will still do, or any producers that have worked with Britney, they're like, she's like a beast in the studio because she's willing to try whatever, and she doesn't put any type of limitation on herself when she goes into the studio. She's like, I think she even says it somewhere in this book, like she almost kind of like puts on a performance or acts in the studio. And you hear that throughout this whole record. Like I think about, I mean, this isn't on Blackout, but like I think about like Outrageous, for example. Like thematically, lyrically, nobody could sing that song because she was the only one living that life. But like, I don't know. It's just like you could listen to one of these girls with their like, how do you say it? Like their like curated pop music, and it's supposed to make you like feel a certain type of way, and it's like you really don't, because they're not giving it in the studio. First of all, the first verse is the second as a second verse. Like she was in there evolving and developing stories, and it's just so fucking excellent.
Mm-hmm.
God bless her, and God bless Blackout.
Mm-hmm.
At this moment, on December 3rd, 2023, what's your favorite song?
Perfect Lover.
Good choice.
I will say, like for her, from her entire discography, or just the album?
Just the album.
It's Perfect Lover. I always think of that as like Breathe on Me's edgier sister, I guess. I don't know if it's edgier, but there's just something like just more sultry than, I don't know. It's just the hard beats.
That's what it is. It's her like high pitched voice over like these deep basses, and like
feeling it touch me.
It's so good. And like my favorite part about that song, which is just like, it's, I don't know, it's just like you don't see it in the other girls. It's the second verse, like, you make me feel so hot. There's that break. I love it. Everything you do. And the beat comes in. You got the thing that I want, and then some, and I can't even front. It's like,
I know what you're missing.
Better hurry up, because
time's ticking. Tick tock, come and get me while I'm hot now. You see, it's like
right,
it makes you move that way. I mean, at least people with rhythm.
Yes, that's the thing. It's so funny. It's like, I will never forget. I think it was like the first night, like when we went out, when we met, and Britney was playing at Farewell when Liam was playing, and I can't remember what song Liam was playing, but we both hit the at the same time, and I was like, yep, she gets it. That was so funny.
Actually, I just realized this is the shirt that I wore that night.
It is. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
I was very excited to meet another Britney stan.
That night was so iconic.
Yeah.
That night was really iconic.
Yeah.
Started at the Ritz. And you know, we had a great time.
And we left from that. We moved forward from that.
I think that's like literally like the last time I was there. Maybe like one or two times I've been there. But
I like the beat.
I like the beat.
Yeah. Another beat that I love is Radar's.
Yeah.
The way that song starts is so gritty.
Excellent. You know, it's
$10 million smile.
It's so good. They had to put it on 2 albums.
Mm-hmm.
Animal in the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
The part about that song that like sends shivers everywhere throughout my body, especially like watching it live at the circus tour, is the synths that start at the pre-chorus, the do 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 do. Notice how later on in the song, at the last chorus, like that final fucking chorus, they come back like with the outro. It's just like the way that masterpiece is put together. Like there's some days where I'm like, Radar's the best song.
Radar with a fucking like radar sound in it. Yeah, and especially
Crazy.
the ending part, which is like,
yes, it's like haunting kind of.
I always like, if I'm in the shower and I'm hearing that song, just ending that, I am on the circus tour and I'm just like, dun,
Yes,
dun,
as the curtain's coming down.
dun.
Yeah. I do that all the fucking time. I'll like wait till the song's over.
Yeah.
Like how you see her like go under the stage,
Yeah.
and everything. I was thinking about this the other day because I was watching a Blackout deep dive, and I wanted your opinion on this. There's so much that I had to ask you, and I'm so happy we could talk about it now. But somebody was making the point that they think Break the Ice should have opened the album because of It's Been a While. What do you think?
I've had that thought before. And I mean, I still agree with it, but when you go back to hear the beginning of Give Me More, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just so crisp. Like,
yeah.
And I don't think if Give Me More was not in the beginning, I don't think the Britney bitch would have caught on as well, especially now because, like, you know, even the general public and, you know, shows and stuff still, like, use that now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have gotten that big. I could be wrong, but I do agree that it would have been really cunt for her to say that in the beginning. Because as a stan at that time, I would be like, oh, okay.
Right. I think now, like, if the album was released during, like, the streaming age, it would have paid off. But I think Give Me More for the opening, like, we have to remember, it's like people were going to Virgin Megastore and buying the CDs where we didn't have shuffle in your car. You get this new Britney Spears CD. We haven't heard from her in months. The only thing we've heard from her are things in the tabloids. And the first fucking words you're hearing this girl say straight from herself is, "It's Britney, bitch." I would crash my car right into the bridge. I don't care. I love it.
Yeah.
To quote another prophetess.
Break the Ice is another song that's just like, I don't know. That lady, whatever hormones she had while she was pregnant, chewing on ice and into that microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Like, how do you just come up with something like that?
Yeah.
And every time I hear it out, like, if people do play it out, it's an immediate, like, turn on, like, performance mode where it's just like,
Uh-huh.
you make me feel oh, wait, no, wrong song.
Perfect lover.
Me not even knowing Break the Ice. Wow.
It's been a while.
The chorus, like that, like having a chorus in that is insane.
It's crazy.
Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I know it's been a while, but I'm glad you came.
That's the thing. It's just like how much of a like divine duo Britney and Danger were, because it's like she gave the vocals and the high pitched vocals, and it's like it's the percussion on that album and that song is stunning. Like,
turn the lights down low.
If you wanna see, and that's the thing. It's like I was listening to the chapter a few weeks ago. I've literally read this book now like 26 times. I kid you not. And I was listening to like the Blackout section, and then I was listening to Blackout, and I was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like those little bits, like turn the lights down low if you wanna. Like the music is like interactive, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So like like I compare like other music to seeing a movie in a normal theater. Britney's music has always been like the IMAX of it all. You know, like it's always immersive. It's always playful. Like, you know, there's some singing bits, there's some speaking bits. Like, I don't know, like it just, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. I would love to see, because, you know, we got the cartoon version of that music video. Not that I endorse AI, but if anyone wants to make a realistic version of that video, it would be greatly appreciated with, you know, Britney's cosign. But I would have loved to seen a continuation of the
Did you say a continuation?
Of the toxic storyline. Like that would have just been just amazing.
That's smart.
I mean, even the cartoon anime version is still, you know, pretty good. Like I love it. I think it's, I mean, that's great for her to, whoever suggested doing it like an anime version of that,
Genius.
Very smart. Because then we got Kill the Lights, and that was interesting. I don't know who voted for that. You stands. Something was going on in 2011. Was it 2011?
Kill the Lights 2010.
2010.
2009, 2010, yeah.
I'm sure they were desperate for something.
Yeah. Another highlight of Blackout, which I will include, is Heaven on Earth. Heaven on Earth is incredible.
Your touch, your... The fact that, shout out to Dinah Fire, that mix, y'all need to check out her SoundCloud. She has a perfect mix. Literally for anything. Literally for the gym, in a car ride, blah, blah. But I remember sitting there, because you sent it to me, and you said, listen at this part, but I started from the beginning. And then just hearing the beats come up, I was like, oh, this bitch.
Yep.
This bitch. How dare you?
The nerve.
But I was gagged. That was... Definitely check out Dinah Fire's SoundCloud.
Love Dinah Fire.
And if you're in New York City, go check her out in the clubs. She knows how to make you twirl.
Yes. God bless her. I love that girl.
And what would... I feel like Get Naked, Freak Show, like those songs are also very, like you said, interactive.
Yes. Like you think about like Get Naked, I've always viewed as like a conversation between her and, you know, the voice is like Danger's voice, but it's like her and a man. You know what I mean? Like, especially when the bridge comes, it's not even Britney. It's, I understand that you, like, I just want to take you. Like, that's crazy. Ever you want me, it on the side.
I love that he's very included in that. Like, he's very included in this record. That
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy that happened.
Same. You said Get Naked and Freak Show.
Freak Show, the beginning always gets me so hyped, especially because I love to listen to the Circus Mix on SoundCloud, and it's just like that. Do 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 do. 10 p.m. to 4.
Like, that's the thing. Like, you're starting off a song with 10 p.m. to 4, and I came to hit the floor. No one's doing it. And it's like...
And we see that. She's going to the clubs barefoot, twirling around.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, she was about what she was singing about, and that's just, like, what's so beautiful.
That song also has a lot of, like, sounds that you just know. Like that. Doo-doo-doo-doo, like, in the background. I don't know.
Even like there's like kind of like a little like alarm sound like at the bridge, like the Freak Show. There's a
that breakdown.
Like you asked me to rename like the presidents. Nah, but like get that like glitchy bridge perfectly. I got you, syllable by broken syllable. Me and my girls.
Get Back also. That one is a crazy one. I love how theatrical Ooh Ooh Baby is. Yes. Like that could be, I could see that on stage. Like that would be a fun, like, you know how, was it Chicago that was interested in her?
Yes.
Let's put that in there. Yeah, let's put Ooh Ooh Baby in there.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. I feel like that would be an easy way to get her in there. I think she should still be on there.
I think now it would be perfect more than ever. I mean, like Pam was just on it. So like Pam and Britney to me always like parallel in many ways. So I think that would be perfect. You've seen the performance for Ooh Baby on Circus Tour, right? Where she does like the magic
magic show, yeah. I think that was fun for her, you know, even in a troubling time.
Yes. I
think that was probably a lighter time.
Yeah, I think she was lit. Like when the Blackout songs came on during Circus, like when she had to perform like Circus, she was probably like,
right.
But like when it was time for like the Freak Show section of the tour, you know, she was like, girl, I've waited 4 years for this.
I know like a lot of people always say they would love to go back to Dream Within a Dream tour or Onyx. I am going to be the one to say I would do anything to go back in time and go see Circus Tour just because it includes some Blackout songs and the other hits. But I mean, also at the ending of that tour with the Break the Ice montage of her fucking like discography. What is it video? What is a discography of videos? Is there a word for that? Videography.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
But that was like, you know, cuntly edited. I know that crowd was jumping, so I wish I could have been there.
Same.
To have a massive screen with her face, I'd be like, that is the holy mecca right there. That's something that I would travel
Literally,
for.
Britannica. I'm like... Britannica is the word of the week, baby. Yeah. I'm going to be saying that at work, and people are going to be like, huh? But whenever I go to watch the Break the Ice interlude, like, they have, like, the actual uploaded version online now. I always go back to the version of it, like, recorded off of somebody's, like, Nikon camera at Madison Square Garden, because it's just the moment where the song is building up, and then it goes to the kiss with her and Madonna, and you hear the crowd lose it. I get like literal like I get like chills like thinking about it, because it's just like no one does that. It was just so, just like what you said, it girl magic doesn't have to be forced. And yeah, something that didn't have to be forced was the making of the album and the effortlessness of the album. And to keep talking about the album but talking about the book, I'm so glad we got a little bit of her talking about the making when it comes to the song. So like her talking about how Hot as Ice was like a spiritual experience for her.
She had all these big burly men in that studio listening to her 5'4", 6, 7,
12
self.
Yeah. And she said, boys, make room. Let me lay this shit down and dip. I got babies to breastfeed.
Yeah.
Out of my way. And
I love that they had a baby swing in the studio. That was very nice. Was that her publicist?
Teresa LaBarbera, her A&R. Legendary A&R that was literally Beyonce and Destiny's Child's A&R as well.
Well, look at that. Talented women in the industry.
I love that lady. She used to be, you remember like the E True Hollywood stories and everything, like the documentaries that they would show, or like they had a lot of like pop culture documentaries like throughout the 2000s, and it would just have different like talking heads of like entertainment figures, you know, like commenting on certain things, whatever. And she was always in them, and I stand her my whole life. Like I love this lady, and I met her at my last job. I believe I told you this. I just want to share it with the show, and because she's also Chloe's A&R right now. And so when Chloe came into the show that I was working at previously, she came in and I was like, bitch, that's like, Chloe, love you. But I was like, bitch, that's Teresa LaBarbera. What? Like, all the people. And like, she's the reason, like, she got Danger for Britney. Like, she's the A&R. Like, she has such a heavy hand in conceptualizing that sound and like what we're still celebrating almost fucking 20 years later. And I literally was like, I loved loved all your work, like watching all the documentaries and everything. She's like, oh my gosh, thank you. And I was just like, also, I know what you did for Blackout, and I'm a huge Britney fan, so I wanted to personally thank you for helping curate that sound. She was like, oh, thank you. That's so sweet. It's a great record, honey. And I was like,
oh, she knows.
She knows. She knows. Imagine being her. It comes on, like, Gimme More comes on the radio or something. She's just like,
I did that.
Right. Now that's a story to tell your grandkids one day.
When is it going to be me, myself, and Miss Teresa?
I pray.
Let's get you in here, girl.
I pray. The DMs,
I will be here that day. I will be watching right over there.
Oh, yes, you will. Yes, you will. The DMs have been sent. The conversation has been had. I want something.
Answer the phone.
Thank you. I really want that to happen. I want there to be a Blackout documentary one day, like something that
we are living in the age of, you know, losing greatness, and we need to have all of this on record for Britannica, and we need everyone involved with Blackout to be on record. Yeah,
considering, I mean, like how like much of a still like nostalgia heavy era we're in. It's just like, okay, like that can't just live through like fan cams via TikTok. Like, no, let there be, didn't mean to hurt anyone, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, let there be long-standing, tangible, like, proof and stories shared about this stuff. So, like, that's why, like, this book and, like, this chapter specifically was just fucking amazing. But, yeah, any final words on Blackout besides, Britney, let's go?
This is her, I'll say this is the last thing about Blackout, is that this is her third time reinventing or influencing music in her career.
Yeah.
Everyone calls it the Bible of pop music, as many other stands try to, like, water that influence down. It's been said, and it'll always be said. It's been inducted in the
Rock and Roll Hall
of Fame. Who else has that? No one that I know of.
Don't know.
Don't
know.
I thought she rapped or whatever.
Sang or rapped or whatever. But yeah, so with that, we begin chapter 23, which,
the first note that I have for this was whoever her lawyer was at this time backstabbed her.
Explain.
Because he was the one that pushed her to file for divorce.
Yep.
He knew what he was doing. He's a man, so
yep.
I would guess why. I would love to know if Kevin probably gave him a deal in the back end about this.
I wouldn't be fucking surprised, because what was his reasoning behind her filing first?
Basically kind of like, you're going to be embarrassed if he files for it. Like, that's a bad look on you. And then it's like she ended up having to pay for all the fees and child support and all that shit. Right. A scheme.
Where is he?
A scheme. Huh?
No, I'm like, where is he?
Oh, no, but I'll find you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Where is this
And I'll
bitch?
find where your kneecaps are.
Get him again. But, yeah, 23 is pretty much the beginning of the divorce. Jaden is literally only like 2 months old. My God, that's so sad. That is so sad. Even too, like, I don't like those little gremlins now, but it's like,
they're not little anymore. One of them is 18.
Right, exactly. It's like, even like on the kid's sake though, at this time, it's like 2 months in and your parents are being divorced publicly. That fucking sucks. Like,
I know that she noted in this about like having to announce him in that award show.
That's right.
Which one was that?
Oh, it was the American Music Awards.
And wasn't that after she filed for divorce?
Yeah.
Somebody had to be her friend and be like, girl, don't do that.
Yeah.
But I know that she was just like, this is how you play the game for the industry and having to be complicit in this and that, yada, yada. And I know she noted that she didn't appreciate people dunking on him violently, which I kind of understand. I mean, it sucks that you have to watch the world celebrate you divorcing your love of your life and father of your children. I think about like Rosie O'Donnell. Today's a special day.
Which, like,
if I was in the audience, I'd be like, yeah.
Oh, I'd be lit too. Yeah, exactly. Because, like, in respect, like, it was, and that was all done, like, with, like, good intention. It's just, like, I could understand how the good intention could be translated to uncomfort when you're the person that's going through it.
Yeah.
You know? So it's, like, it's a weird thing. But it's, like, I don't know. Like, I remember it because I was, like, I don't know, like, attentive at this time. Like, I was maybe, like, 8, I believe. And it's like, this was like talked as if it was like a political issue. You know what I mean? Like, there was George Bush and then there was Britney Spears and Kevin Federline. Like, this was really like the talk of the town. So it's like, I could only imagine like how hard it really was for her to just have like the father of her kids and somebody that like she loved, you know, like she's mourning the loss of a person. She's divorcing them. She probably wants escapism from it somehow and she can't, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's like always hard to understand from a different perspective. Because I mean, I feel like from the beginning, I mean, everyone did not like Kevin, so it was a relief that he was gone. Like he was like no longer part of that picture. But
yeah,
again, she is a real human being, so she is experiencing something way different than we were. Well, I wasn't. I was a child. At this time still.
Yes, both of us, yeah.
Me minding my own business as a 7-year-old while all this is going on.
You twirling to your Live and More tape. Yeah. But yeah, so chapter 23, just like what Kevin said, like these, like chapters 20 through 25 are kind of a rush, so hence why we're rushing through them, because we're method acting and we're putting ourselves in Britney's shoes. So we're actually being professional when you really think about it.
Well, yes.
So chapter 23 ends with kind of like this quote I wanted to highlight. She said, so I was young and I made a lot of mistakes, but I will say this. I wasn't manipulative. I was just stupid. That's one thing Justin and Kevin ruined about me. I used to trust people, but after the breakup with Justin and then my divorce, I never really did trust people again. This kind of like sets...
Get him again.
Both of them. And you know what? Sam too, while we're at it. All of them. And Cade. He has to take her to the Renaissance movie. But
I feel like towards the end of this book, we should have like a Sam episode to be like, yeah.
That's a good idea.
So yeah, tune in for the bashing of
You know what? Yeah, that or like even just like at the end of the...
I'm not even going to say bashing, more like observing.
Yeah, investigative journalism.
Exactly. There you go.
Completely. Being professionals. That would be a really sick idea. Like at the end of this whole series, do like not an episode that's on like one chapter, but like a reflection of the whole thing.
Yeah. And I think we need to highlight more often, especially in the media, the names, full names and positions and companies of every person that has crossed Miss Spears, Lou Taylor, TriStar, Robin Greenhill. Just know if I catch you out in the streets.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I might be gay, but my hands can be bisexual. Not that I'm inciting violence. I'm not doing that for legal reasons, but I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah, I think about that often. I'm like, has Jamie Spears been seen publicly since?
You know, I don't know. The last thing I heard about him was that knee infection, which is very ironic. He looks deathly ill.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank
I don't
God.
know.
I wonder, because I think about that moment a lot. I'm like, what if I'm out in public and I just see him? I'm like,
I did see Jamie Lynn once walk by with her kids.
really?
Yeah.
When?
Back when I was still in the ATL and they were filming Sweet Magnolias, I think.
No.
Because they filmed that in
way.
Atlanta, yeah. And because I remember all my coworkers being like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "Well, she's with her kids. I can't do anything."
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
I'm not that like
Right.
malicious.
Yeah, he has
I
class.
do have some nasty words for her, but stop lying on television. You didn't take anything from Britney, please. It's just getting worse and worse for her. Like she
Yeah.
keeps going on these reality TV shows and she like talks about her and I'm like,
Girl, stop
you're
talking.
such like a con. It's so sad to watch.
It's
like
very sad.
she's sad about being in Britney's shadow. Maybe be talented. Do something for yourself. I don't know.
Right, and I'm like,
Why are you putting it on her?
literally go and secure a gig. Oh wait, you know, and like later on in the book too, like Britney kind of talks about like that weird greed that Jamie Lynn has. Like she would come back from all these meetings and be like, we should start a talk show together. It's
Oh,
like,
no.
girl, what?
Weird.
No, like you make your own success off of your own name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, we enter chapter 24, which is the beginning of the Party Girl era. This is Bimbo Summit. This is all of it. And we kind of thank Paris Hilton to begin that era, but also like she was a good friend to Britney. Granted, now like all of Paris's content or the content that people reverberate from Paris is just things that are Britney related, which I'm kind of like,
As everyone is doing right now,
Right.
unfortunately. Like it's very interesting watching like using Britney's name to get any coverage, but also still having the bashing of it. Like we are truly back in the Y2K era. War, Britney in the headlines, low-rise jeans, Paris Hilton. Like,
holy shit.
actually, let me not say war, because we know what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's two sides to a war. But anyway, back
You
to
ate
that.
But wow, that really, wow, that's so accurate. We really kind of are in like the 2000s again.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Holy shit.
I
Whoa,
think.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, just like Arab child syndrome just kicked in. I was like
Yeah.
taken back.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So with that being said, this is Britney's kind of only escape. Like this is the other meaning of Blackout. You know, like our sister was going out and partying. She felt lonely at home. She's now 25 at this time, so going out isn't anything crazy. All time she was going out, she would find somebody to watch the kids. So there's nothing wrong here, according to me.
I mean, she's what, 26?
Like 25, 26 here, yeah.
Yeah. I had, like, my little notes literally have Paris Hilton, party, Bimbo Summit. And then I do know, like, it's at, like, this is her Adderall and Red Bull era, which,
Yeah.
you know, not promoting big pharma drugs or anything like that, but I would like to experience that. Yeah, Red Bull and Adderall.
And get a lot of work done.
Right, exactly. But, you know, with our healthcare system, it's not easy to do because
Right.
it's very hard to find a doctor with what you can afford here. Sorry that I keep going into, like, political things.
No, that's what you're here for, hon.
I did know that she doesn't like weed. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But I understand as well. I get it.
Yeah, she's the one friend. So when she comes out with us one night and we all pass her joint around, I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm all right.
I should
now.
probably follow suit, honestly. And this era also, you get, oh my God, like Lindsay, like, oh my God.
Legendary. That's the thing. Like, I love how, like, as the it girl she is and anti, like, media she was still so aware
Yeah.
of the media and of the headlines. So, I don't know. I always found that, like, quite interesting
Yeah.
about
I
her.
honestly, with the like rethinking about the documentaries that she doesn't like, unfortunately, they kind of do paint it, and I hate that they gave this guy that fucking platform.
Oh God.
Of like, you know, she played with us, like she played a part into it, and I'm just like, you know, in these moments, especially like with the like Lindsay, oh my God, whatever, it's like she wasn't playing. She just has to deal with y'all. Like this is just her way of having to be like,
yes,
basically being sane. Like you have to play around because these grown ass men again. Following you every single step with cameras, screaming, just being animals. I mean, I guess that's just like, you know, when you have a nervous laugh type of thing. I think that was her like reaction to all of what was happening.
That's a beautiful way to put that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing. I always viewed that moment kind of as her almost like parodying herself of like, y'all think I'm this dumb, like blonde bimbo bitch. I'm going to talk like one. And like she was always like very like, this was kind of the beginning of like her trolley kind of era, if you will, which we still see today in her Instagram captions and behavior.
Yeah.
And whatnot. It's a really good way to put it. Fascinating.
Do you have anything else for 24? I noted about the Lynn thing.
Same. That was my last note.
Take it away. Yeah. So now I'm the host of.
You're welcome anytime.
Yeah.
But so for this, she has a night out in Vegas with Paris and pretty much comes back and is drunk. Oh no, big shocker. 25-year-old going out with her friends and coming home drunk. Oh no, like crime. How dare she? And Lynn pretty much scolds her down. She says she felt shame. It killed her heart. She stood there reeling and thought, okay, I guess it's forbidden for me to party. Her mom made her feel bad and guilty as if she did something wrong, even though she worked hard for this success, she says, and kind of to earn her right to enjoy herself. Anyone would. Like, Lynn was doing the same thing, using all the properties that Britney bought them to just go around and drink and kiki in them and not even invite her. So it's like, so that pretty much happens there. So that kind of reflects the behavioral patterns we mentioned earlier about the weird kind of like savior complex the Spears family.
That's what I also said on there.
Has.
I feel like this was just her like replacement hold of her childhood trend of yelling at belligerently alcoholic, abusive father. I feel like it's Lynn's, I think it's her way of pretending of having control of the narrative. So she had to bring it onto Britney this time because that's like the hole that she had to fill. And she's like, it's basically kind of just being like, how dare Britney enjoy her time out, and I have to be here at home with the kids. Yep. In this gorgeous beach house. Right.
Like, oh no, I'm so sorry for you. Like, what?
Yeah,
it's a really good point.
And a lot of people kind of have that weird sense of false control over a lot of people. Yeah. At least from what I've experienced personally and professionally with some leaders. But yeah.
No, yeah, that's I'm like listening so deeply because it's a really good point. It's like, in a way, Lynn and Jamie had their own weird issues of things that they couldn't control. So Jamie was drinking. Lynn, it was dealing with Jamie's drinking. And the one thing they saw eye to eye on is how they could take it out. And it's on their daughter, which is very, very tragic. And with that tragic moment, we come to chapter 25, which like this is really where like these chapters get hot and heavy. So chapter 25 begins with, which I kind of like about this chapter, like this kind of era, I will say, is that like it always begins somewhat lighthearted, at least. Like she always begins about saying like how grateful she is about her kids. Like literally at this time, only good things going for her are the existence of her kids. And I don't know, it kind of just like randomly hit me right now. Like, that's really sad that all this happened at this time. It would have been sad if this happened at any point of her life, but it's like you talk to parents and you ask them like what's their favorite part about parenting, and it's always, or like, you know, you hear parents like recounting like their favorite parts of their lives with their kids, and it's always like those first 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, granted, like, they're crazy. It's a lot of sleepless nights. Like, you're literally starting fresh and taking care of a new human being. But it's like, it's also so beautiful because you're taking care of a new human being. You're seeing somebody, let alone 2 kids, develop into, you know, people. And it's really tragic that she got to miss out on a lot of this even before her custody was taken. But, you know, just to not even be there, like, her presence was gone because she had so much going on. Like, she had people watching her and everything. So I don't know, that sentiment just like randomly hit me of like, wow, how sad is that? So
I mean, the first thing I noted was she was just cut off from friends.
yeah.
She couldn't really do anything without people. Not saying that, like, you know, partying is the only way of, like, connecting with friends, but having to be shamed for any part of, like, not being with your kids at all times is very, I'm sure, very, like, weird to experience.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of mothers out there experience that, which if people really do that to you, like, drop them.
Right.
Because those are not like, those are not, they are not in the in the right mindset to have you be taken care of. And I think this is when she realizes that her normal life has actually been really stripped from her.
Yeah.
Like, I think she knew that before being a star, but now, like, being a mom and a star, I think this is when she's like, oh shit, like, I can't ever go back to just a normal, quiet, private life.
Yeah, completely. Even when you think about it in terms of like the busyness of her life, like before kids, her main focus was work.
Mm-hmm.
After work came kids. She never really had a moment to be just Britney.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where she found moments, which is completely fine because she's a human. Like, she was trying to have moments of, you know, going out with parents or whatever to be like, okay, let me still practice my own individuality again. And it just was robbed from her, and yeah, just really crazy to think about. Yeah, so very, very sad beginning to the chapter. Again, she notes her behavior kind of becoming more quote unquote weird. It's kind of like fatality after fatality here in this chapter. The divorce is settled at this point, I believe, right? Yeah, divorce is settled. She doesn't get as much custody. On top of that, the passing of her aunt happens, who was like a second mother to her. So now she's going through postpartum. She's divorcing with her husband and the father of her kids publicly, and she loses somebody that's a second mother to her. But at this time, she's like offered a role to a movie that's potentially a very dark role, which, so like, at first I read as kind of like a funny detail to like this chapter, but it plays into the rest of this period because she kind of was playing a dark role throughout this life. So it's kind of interesting to see how life imitates art around that time. I wanted to highlight this quote though at the end of page 147 though. I don't know who the fuck wrote this, whether it was her or the ghostwriter, but like, it's tragic, but it's beautifully said to how she feels at this time. And she says, "On the inside, I felt like a cloud of darkness for a long time. On the outside, though, I tried to keep looking the way people wanted me to, keep acting the way they'd wanted me to, sweet and pretty all the time. But the veneer had been worn away by this point, that there had been nothing left. I was a raw nerve." It, like, that's so sad, and it's so detailed. My dad is a dentist, so I really get it. But it's like... like that point, like whenever I like listen to that in the audiobook, like I pause and I'm just like, damn, this girl's at her most vulnerable going through all of this. So with the vulnerability, this leads her to a very vulnerable position, which is not being able to see her kids and people in the public knowing about that, which leads to paparazzi consistently chasing after her. And yeah.
I mean, this isn't just like regular not seeing the kids. This is like not seeing your months-old babies for months because your bum-ass ex-husband isn't allowing you to see them. I don't know why that was so justified for like, why was that justified within his right to do that? I mean, she's talked about in the book that, like, sleeping with her babies is the closest thing to God.
Yeah.
And to have weeks on end not having that. First of all, who the fuck is taking care of the kids when they're with Kevin? Because I know Kevin's not there.
Literally.
That's the question right there.
Literally.
Because I know it wasn't him. I don't know what he was doing. Did he have somebody else at this time? I don't know.
That's a good question. He might have been dating somebody else at this time now, because he's been known to be talking to many few people.
Yeah.
Around this time.
So, like, I guess that, I mean, the being so despaired from that and desperation, I know she starts looking for friends, and unfortunately questionable characters come in.
Yeah.
But also it's like we can't really judge her for that.
Yeah.
She was really going through back-to-back of just blows at her, and not even her own family helping her with it. They just acted like she was insane.
It's crazy. And she notes, I can't remember the quote exactly. It's like, you think when somebody would be going through all of this, that's when you reach out to them and you're like, hey, I know nothing's, going the way you want to at the moment, but I'm here. And this is the moment where they're the most absent.
Yeah.
Yet they come back later and shame her for all the things she did wandering around alone, when it's like, well, maybe these things wouldn't have happened if y'all were there. Not holding them responsible over it, but there is some responsibility to be had when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, that's what then leads to an iconic moment. I say iconic because
it was iconic.
Who else is looking this cunt with a shaved head? No one else. And this is like, I remember being such a shock in the world, even at my 7-year-old self. I do remember seeing those images on television. But I mean, the reasoning behind it has always been kind of just like sad to know. Because I know, like, we've known about her being basically like, people at that barber shop were like, she didn't want people touching her. She didn't want people touching her. She didn't want people like taking photos of her. So this is her last resort of just taking Britney away from the public.
Yeah.
Which didn't work, unfortunately. So then it just led to even more attention to her, even more harassment from the paparazzi. But we do get these wig eras. Yeah, I love the wigs. I love the neon pink wig. She just looks so happy in the neon pink wigs in those photos.
She does, in the big Gucci shades.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Every
Dolce & Gabbana, actually.
Oh,
I
that's
just learned
right.
that because I was looking for them.
Nowhere.
They're expensive.
Yeah. You know what? We own Canal Street.
Right.
We might
Let's
have
go
to
look
do
for
some
those,
shopping
actually.
after this.
We'll be right back.
Actually, we bring them a picture. Do y'all have these?
Yeah.
But it's funny. Every time I see those candidates, I think of you, because I think of your profile picture on most of your social accounts.
I mean,
that picture. I'm like, hey, there's Kevin.
Yeah.
It's
That's
so
just funny. She, like, just those photos. I mean, I'm sure she was not having the best of times, but like that pink wig, how dare Jamie Spears take that pink wig too? That's another thing that I have against him. But
oh, he did?
Yeah, there's a photo of him holding that wig.
What?
Yeah. Girls just can't have hobbies these days.
That's
like,
crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Damn.
If someone fact checks me, I'm sorry. I have seen that image, I think.
I trust you. I believe you.
But my favorite photo is her coming out of a gas station, or like she's like in the gas station, a big ass case of Red Bulls, sugar-free Red Bulls, and her little like kitten heels, jeans atop, big glasses, and the neon pink wig. Like, that is my favorite photo of her, because I'm just like, mama. I relate.
Yep. It's that one, and it's the one of her where like she's in the car and I think she's like holding her keys or something and she's like laughing. Just like her smile with the big shades and the bangs sitting on the glasses is everything.
I mean, this like, you know, I hate the paparazzi at this time, but there was just so many good moments that were caught. I loved, like, gay videos are in, you know, right? She was right.
Ate them up. That's the thing. She was just offering political commentary.
Yeah.
She said, okay, all gays welcome here. She was giving them a...
Why don't you get on Weight Watchers, you fat ass?
Why don't you go on Weight Watchers, you fat fuck?
Yeah.
You hear the kids screaming in the back and everything. My sister was mad.
Good for her.
I don't blame her at all. I love the video too. Not like love, but like I like seeing her stand up for herself. And I just saw it the other day. It's the one where like I think she loses her camera because she took a digital camera and would take pictures of them to like, you know, throw it back at them or whatever, and she loses it. And it's like literally her in the middle of the street running around her car, and there's hounds of people, and I'm trying to remember what somebody says to her, and it's like it's like when you hear like your mom or like your father like yell at you and address you by your first name, you're like, oh shit, it's over. Like it's over for me. Like she yells at the person. She's just like, you're always in front of my fucking house every day. Move. Like it's like hearing her just like at her like purest like angriest form. It makes me sad, but I'm just like, you know what? Let them fucking have it. And that's why like I'm so sorry. Like she did nothing wrong here. She did nothing wrong here. As she said, she was a raw fucking nerve. What is a raw nerve going to do when something comes at it? Bleed. Like crazy. And so yeah, what do you remember from the head shaving incident specifically? Because as you noted, like this shit was everywhere. Like, do you remember what people around you were thinking, what people were saying?
No, I mean, not really, not at the time, just because, again, I was, like, 7. All I know is it was on... My mom would always have this, like, Spanish gossip show on, and I would be coming home. Her face would be plastered on the TV. I mean, this was, like, for weeks. Like, it would always just be about her. Yep. It was always about Britney.
Yeah. They were covering her on the news channels. Like, not even the entertainment channels anymore. Like, she was being covered... on CNN, on Fox, on everything. Like
they just want the clicks and the views.
Yep.
That's all what media is now. Like even like CNN, all these like fucking news networks, like they're just as bad as Fox News at this point. Like please, let's like real journalism is really dead at this point. Yeah. Especially with the biased journalism, like, you know, coverage of a lot of things these days. But we won't get into that. Yeah.
Hey, if you ever want to, I'm here. But yeah, I remember like going to school the next day. She shaved her head, and like everyone was talking about it. And it's like growing up, like loving this lady. Like this lady, like from the beginning, was my fucking mama. And I just remember feeling so sad and just hearing everybody, like all the opinions they had to say about her, and like just people's perspective on a woman that's like going through it. Like. It's like I felt so shit and sad at age 10. The girl herself going through it must have felt horrible. So, yeah, she notes that the head shaving moment was a moment of kind of like taking matters into her own hands, literally, and her moment of rebellion. I love this part. I love hearing in the audiobook too. I think Michelle Williams does a great job of saying this part when she says, shaving my head was a way of saying to the world, fuck you. You want me to be pretty for you? Fuck you. You want me to be good for you? Fuck you. You want me to be your dream girl? Fuck you. That's exactly as she says in the book, and I love it. And I don't blame her at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
Can't have Britney anymore. No more Blondie.
No more Blondie. Do you ever go back and watch the video of it?
I mean, not often, just because...
Yeah.
What am I supposed to get out of that? Right. I know a lot of people like to post it. I know a lot of the Stan accounts, which I'm talking right at you, weird behavior to be posting that over and over. Yep. I mean, you know, like I said, to me it was iconic, but it's still hard to watch. Yeah. Also, people who dress up as that on Halloween.
Fuck y'all.
Literally. That is like poor taste. It's like,
ooh.
I don't know. Ooh, it's weird. Ooh. It's weird.
We ran into a piece of shit last year that dresses that for Halloween.
Yeah.
When it clicked as to like that's what they were, oh my gosh, I've never wanted to swing harder in my life.
That gives me like that to me is just side eye behavior, and once you get a side eye,
over.
You're no longer like you're not there. You don't know who you are.
Gone. gone.
Yeah.
I hate.
So if you guys ever have an idea to do that for Halloween for any costume,
don't.
Yeah, you can walk into traffic.
Yeah. And if your friend thinks it's a fun idea for them to do it, befriend them. Don't even offer them the advice. Just be like, suddenly your number's blocked. Right. I don't know what happened. So, I hate. I just got like the sight of that piece of shit. Like it just like popped up in my face and I see red. Their ugly selves. God damn it. How dare they? But, it's like when I get worked up about things, I'm just like sitting in my own corner like just imagine me in conscious mode. Yeah. But so like I remember at this time, this is the last thing I'll add about the head shave moments. Like I remember like my family just got like the first like laptop. It wasn't a computer anymore. It was like a laptop for the family, and I was just on it all day doing like my Britney research and on like the forums and everything. And at the time on YouTube, what was really popular, because YouTube was just starting, was like X17, TMZ and everything. So I'd watch all those videos, and I'll never forget the TMZ video of her, and the part that I get like sad at, but it's chills at, it's when they have the view from the barbershop, or not the barbershop, it's when she's getting the tattoos, that's what it is. She's sitting, lying down, getting her hip tattoos, which are fucking iconic and kind. Laying down, she has the hoodie over her head. They're back here. It's that part where she takes the hoodie off and like looks back at them and lays down. And it's like sad chills though. And it's the gasp you hear from, first of all, it's a loud gasp because it's fucking like 40 people. And you hear them all be like, oh, yo, she's bald. Like, it's crazy.
And that's exactly what she noted. She knew. That's the exact reaction that she knew she was going to get.
Yeah.
You want me to be your dream girl?
Fuck yeah.
And you hear the reaction?
Crazy. What a fucking time. My God. But
I will say, like, at this time at the paparazzi thing, I always get so, like, angry about it. And like those individuals do play a part in it, but we always have to look at the bigger problem, and it's always the publications. They are the ones that source out these people. And like, even more, like a lot of these people are people who can't get jobs, like actual jobs, because of majority of them, especially in LA, were Hispanics, Latinos. And this was just an easy way to get cash under the table. And they were going to get their shot one way or another because they knew how much money they were going to get out of that. Mm-hmm. So I always say, there can be so much hate for the paparazzis, but I think it should always be directed towards the publications that were posting them, because they are really the ones that were sourcing for this. So
yeah, completely.
Except that piece of shit that went on the documentary. He is lost. Like, his mind... He was trying to justify that whole thing. I was just kind of like, girl, please.
Yeah, he could choke.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like the corporations behind these things were like the people with the carrot being held out, and everybody else is simply like...
And they just act ravenous just because it's just not even dollar bills, but like a bundle for a photo of this lady.
Yeah. Did you see... I think I might have sent it to you. It was the one girl who did the video essay on the Eminem's tour. Mm-hmm. You saw the one she did on Blackout, right? Mm-hmm. It was like the 2-part one.
Yeah.
We love Mila Tequila in this house, but that bitch came with that.
She's a stan right there.
Oh, yeah, she is. You could tell. Yeah. Like, she did 2 hours each, I think. One was a whole backstory of where media's at to then put us where, and how Blackout on that era was made. And that point that you bring up is a point that she made. And I genuinely, didn't really, I never got the chance to sit down and think about how these publications took advantage of people that were in limited circumstances, thus forth kind of, driving their thirst and hunger after this girl and all of her unfortunate moments that were shown publicly. It's fucked up.
I mean, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're going to get the shot that's going to sell their papers, because frankly they have nothing else that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why do you even exist
Yeah.
other than being a big? I mean, this was the era of like gossip magazines.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of Mila Tequila, check out her YouTube channel.
Yes.
We are big stans, Mila. We
Yes.
are. We always talk about you.
When she comes to the show, you have to
I
come
know.
on.
She is, I think, full-time college student
Crazy.
with Adobe Pro Premiere Against the World.
Yeah.
And she has a great Eras video, 2 hours of just pure journalistic magic. And you can tell that she was not a stan before, but she is a stan now. That is a great 2 hours that you can have your lunch, dinner, breakfast with.
It's beautiful. And
Visually
it's like,
great.
Yeah. The little intro
Mm-hmm.
and everything. It goes over each era perfectly. It's like what you said. It's like she didn't seem like a Britney fan before, but through her conversation in it, the text and like the tone she's talking at, she gets all of like the nuances and the references and all like the things that like you almost had to be there only for. And I'm like, how are you 12 knowing all this? That's a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
We still go back to it. We know every single one of these eras.
Diane Sawyer, watch out.
It's over for her.
Yeah.
NPR, gone. And yeah, love her. Truly love her. But so things just keep getting worse and worse. It's really that time. I've thought about this era, like this set of chapters a lot, like throughout doing this series. And I was just like, how's it going to be when the moment comes? And I'm like, well, one of the many moments have come. And here we are. It's just so like, it's just weird to look back on it in retrospect in like such vivid detail. And like, I've never gotten to like talk about it in tandem with somebody. So it's kind of crazy. I don't know. Like, it just feels like yesterday in a way this kind of happened. Not to make a Britney reference to yesterday, which is a unreleased bonus. Yeah, unreleased track on Blackout. But, you know, here we are. Sorry. When I go off in my little tangents, I'm going. So 26 begins with
Hey Brittany, how are you? Brittany. Hey Brittany, how's the kids doing?
Hi Britney, get one shot. Just one shot.
Watch your new album.
Britney, just one shot. Just one shot. Hi. Thank you.
How's your new album, Brittany? I heard it's gonna be a hit. Think it's funny? What?